I welcome you back to Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Here are the times just to cut to the chase. Long story short, from Chapter 17's battle to now, I accumulated 39 support conversations. Only 20 will be in this part. 9 of them feature Dimitri, since I couldn't do anything with him since the time skip until now. I'm glad about that. I had to go down the list after him to make it an even 20 for this part. The next part will have the following 19 conversations. So grab a snack, or maybe a beverage, since I don't even know how long this will be.
Ugh, that hurts. Professor, thanks for stopping by.
How's your injury?
It's not bad. I was even told I'd be cleared for service starting tomorrow. Besides, I got this scar fighting for you. It's almost like a medal or something.
Are you happy you protected me?
When I thought you were going to be killed for real, my reflexes kicked in. I reacted without thinking. It doesn't mean I've stopped being jealous of you. But come on, I can't help but look up to you. If I'd had the guts to run away from home, I wonder if I would have cared as little about my crest as you do yours.
You didn't have the courage?
No. But if I thought I could have escaped, I would have tried. I'd leave behind House Gautier and the life of a nobleman and anybody who knew I had a crest. Our home is to the very north of the kingdom. Just across the mountains from us is land inhabited by foreigners to Fodlan. It once belonged to Fargus, but now that the kingdom has collapsed, it's only a matter of time until fighting breaks out. Anyway, that land has been contested for centuries, and all that time, it has fallen to House Gautier to protect it. Actually, our Lance of Ruin has been doing most of the protecting.
But it was stolen.
Those were dangerous times. One wrong step, and we would have lost our relic to the church. My father was afraid that the church would try to keep the lance, so he entrusted it to me. If an emergency arose, I was supposed to be called back home. I guess those very situations are why my family values crests so much. Since I bear a crest, my parents made sure I was never left wanting. My older brother didn't have one, and so when I was born, he was pushed aside. You know, he once shoved me in a well. He left me on the mountainside in the middle of winter, too.
You didn't try to get him back?
Even as a little kid, I understood why he was like that. My mere existence stole everything from him. I have no right to complain when I am surrounded by people who would give anything to bear a crest, but do not. Now, women smile at me for the same reason my parents adore me, and my brother wanted me dead. And I have to meet them all with a smile and a wink, because I have a crest.
You're wrong.
Yeah, it's late to admit it, but I get you. It would be best just to tell them to heap their empty praise elsewhere. Anyway, it was pretty unreasonable of me to resent you. I'm really sorry about that. And I want to say thank you, Professor. Seriously, thank you.
For what?
Before I met you, I'd gone my whole life not knowing there was another way for me to live. So, from the bottom of my heart, I'm glad we met.
So that ends their support conversation. Going into that one, I completely forgot what their support was about. But going through that one, I remembered. And it gives It gives much needed character development for Sylvain.
Alright, time to sneak off and do some painting. Professor, such lovely weather today, huh? I was, just about to go for a walk.
Why are you bringing paper?
What, this? No, it's, I'm sorry, Professor. I'll admit it. I was going to do some painting. You remember the place where we talked before? I've been painting the scenery there. I'm still keeping up with my academics and training, of course. I just paint in my spare time, as a change of pace.
You don't have to hide it.
Oh, I don't? Well, yes. Maybe you're right. I may have gotten ahead of myself. I'm sorry for panicking there. Honestly, I'm just worried that my father will find out that I've been painting.
I'm not going to tell him.
Of course. Why would you go out of your way to tell him that? Completely illogical of me. But it seems I've developed a bit of a complex about it. My father's not a fan of my artistic pastime, you see. We're a merchant family, and my older brother is set to inherit the business. As for me, my father decided I should be a knight. That's why I'm at the academy. Painting won't help me become a knight. It's a waste of time.
Is that why you feel guilty about it?
Well, yes. I feel like I'm betraying my parents. I hear the business has been slow for them over the past few years. If I become a knight for an influential noble house, I could use my connections to help support them. My father was determined to send me here. He must have been, considering the enormous amount of money he spent. I don't think I'm well suited to being a knight. My parents sent me to the academy for their sake, not my own. When I think about how hard my family is working just to stay in business, how can I sit idly by? All of which is just to say that painting will have to remain my little hobby. Nothing more. Not that I could make a career out of it even if I wanted to. That's just a fantasy.
I mean, you could make a career out of it. A bunch of people do.
Professor, I asked to be on the sidelines. Why did you put me on the battlefield? You did protect me, so I guess I can't complain. Wait a second, you're hurt. Did that happen when you were defending me?
No.
Oh, you're lying. How could you be so reckless? Perhaps you'll say that that's what friends do. They look out for each other and save each other. But if I saw you getting attacked, I wouldn't risk my neck to save you.
Yes, you would.
No, don't overestimate me. I don't know if I've told you this, Professor. I have a very impressive big brother. I'm not just saying that. He's strong, smart, nice. He's basically perfect. Before Claude turned up, people talked about him becoming the next leader of the Alliance. Anyway, my parents have high expectations for my brother, and he almost always meets them. No one expects anything of me. If something's even a little bit difficult, I find someone else to do it for me. That's what I've done my whole life.
Are you scared of disappointing people?
Of course. I can't stand the idea of not meeting someone's expectations. I know how people react when that happens. From watching my brother, I mean. People force their expectations on you, and then if you fail, they look so disappointed. Whenever that happens to my poor brother, he looks just devastated. So, don't expect anything of me, please. That way, I can't disappoint you.
I won't expect anything, but I believe in you.
stubborn. Okay, fine. Keep believing in me. I do want to support you and support my friends. I just don't want to let you down.
In a way, that's understandable. And that ends their supports, other than the S-Rank support.
Hey, Professor. Can we talk?
Sure.
I feel terrible about the last time we spoke. I was trying to apologize and just ended up losing my temper again. I'm really sorry.
It's alright.
I figured you'd say that, but I still feel like an idiot. Somehow, I just have a hard time keeping my feelings in check around you. And I think if I don't just tell you what I'm thinking, we'll never be able to have a normal conversation. So, let me clear the air. I want us to, engage.
In battle? Engage in what? A duel?
Yeah, exactly. I know it's a sudden thing to ask, but I'm not going to feel settled until I know where I stand. Would you do that for me?
Alright.
Good. Don't hold back, okay? I want to see you at your absolute best.
I would have picked the other option, but she probably would have gotten mad.
Phew. You got me. I'm completely outmatched.
You held your own.
Maybe. But you were definitely stronger. Honestly, that's what I needed to see. You're a true successor to Captain Gerald's style of swordplay. I almost felt like you were him. I thought I was competing with you, but that's as pointless as competing against him would have been. So instead of that, I'm going to focus on keeping the promise I made to him.
What promise?
Captain Gerald said that if anything should happen to him, I'd have to support you in his place. He didn't sound serious at the time, but it was right before he... you know, before we lost him. So, I've decided. I'd like to do just what he said. I know I'm not as strong as I need to be, but I swear to you, I'll train until I am. What do you say? Can I call you my employer?
I know I can count on you.
Yes, it's official. I'll protect you no matter what.
And that's why I wanted to recruit you since the beginning. That ends their support conversations, other than the S-Rank one.
Professor, a moment? I am sorry that I doubted your ability. I deeply regret ever holding such a view of you. It is obvious to me now that you are extraordinary.
Really?
Do you doubt your own power, even now? I suppose that's only natural. You've lived your whole life knowing next to nothing about yourself. Not even Gerald could have possibly known all there is to know about you. And I wonder, are you satisfied with that?
What do you mean?
Are you content, not knowing who you are? Or do you yearn to know more?
I wouldn't know where to begin.
But you cannot go on not knowing, can you? So, only one more question matters. Are you ready?
Are you ready? Ready for what?
The truth. All of it. Learning it will doubtlessly have direct consequences on your life. I do not know what those will be. You may decide, once you learn it, that you wish you hadn't. But even if you have such regrets, you will never be able to return to ignorance. So, Are you ready to know the truth?
Yes, I am.
I see. That is what I wish to hear. Since the Archbishop put so much faith in you, I will continue to offer my aid. More than that, I will put my faith in you as well. And I will do all that is within my power to help you someday reach the truth.
The truth will set you free. I need to get his last conversation. What's wrong?
Oh, hello, Professor. How nice to see you. You caught me off guard. I was actually just thinking about you.
Why the sigh?
Just a moment ago? Well, I am afraid I just do not understand you. When we first met, I sensed something different about you, something mysterious. And now I am convinced your existence itself is very special. Thinking on it, I know it to be true. You have a crest that should have been lost long ago. You wield the sword of the Creator as if it is nothing. Your hair and eye color changed on that day 5 years ago. To the same sort of color as mine and my brother's.
What does it all mean?
I do not know. My brother refuses to speak to me of it. Since then, you have led us into battle, and thus far, we have always come out victorious. Your comrades and colleagues adore you. They believe in you, in your strength. I doubt there is a single soul who is likened to you. Who are you, really?
I don't know.
I simply do not understand. Whatever the case may be, having hair like mine is proof that there is something exceptional about you. I may as well come forward with things. I, too, am unlike others.
How so?
Surely you recall when I was targeted, specifically for my blood? I may not be special in the ways you are, but my blood is rare. It seems the two of us share a special differentness. I also believe that we are bound together in some way. Of this I am certain. Therefore, I intend to stay by your side and watch over you. Your existence must be preserved at all cost.
I would rather protect you.
Certainly those are the words of a hero. Let us unite our powers. Together, we are unstoppable.
It's mainly because Seteth is watching, always. Okay, that's her A conversation. And she still has the S conversation.
How are you doing, Professor? Would you care to join me for a cup of tea?
Sure.
It occurs to me that whenever we chat, I have a tendency to pester you with my questions and theories about your history. It seems only fair to speak on the topic of myself for once. And perhaps you might feel more positively inclined toward my research if I shared my own story.
You have my attention.
I am quite pleased to hear you're interested. Yes, quite pleased. Well, I suppose I should begin at the beginning, eh? I was born into a noble house of the Empire. Not a large house, mind you, but noble all the same. Our land holdings were small, but our bloodline was quite strong. So, as you can imagine, there were many of us in the family who carried the power of crests. I myself bear a minor crest. Our family's abundance of crests may be part of the reason I've been interested in the topic since I was just a boy. I dedicated myself to my studies, and after years of effort, I became lead crest scholar at the Empire's largest research institution.
Why come to Garrick Mach?
I had only Imperial blood, and thus Imperial crests, at my disposal in the Empire. So I came to Garrick Mach and devoted myself to my research during my time as a professor. My progress is slow, but with each revelation, I move ever closer to the answers I have sought for decades. Your cooperation as the bearer of the Crest of Flames ensures my research will continue to advance. In fact, it may bring me ever closer to the goal of uncovering everything there is to know about crests. I do hope you shall continue helping me advance in this field of study.
If you insist.
Together, we will solve the mystery of your Crest of Flames, and our world will be the better for it. Shall we proceed? My lab instruments are fully prepared. I have a great number of tests I'm excited to carry out. No, don't worry. They won't hurt one bit.
Run. So he left to Garrick Mach so he could study other crests rather than the Imperial ones, since I guess I'm guessing those crests are similar, and any other crest outside of the Empire are different. Makes sense.
Your Highness, you still have scars on your back. It does you no good to languish in pain. I will procure some medicine.
No, it is fine. Though they are still deep, these are from 9 years ago. They do not hurt any longer. And besides, it would be a shame if the scars I got from protecting you were to fade. I bear these scars proudly. It makes me think that it was worthwhile that someone like me survived.
To hear you say such things.
Dedue, you say that I saved you. But do you know that you also saved me that day? If I had been unable to save anyone, I would have been the sole survivor. I would have had no reason to keep living. But I saved someone. Saved you. That and that alone has always been my crutch.
When I stood before those soldiers and their swords that day, I was prepared to die. But then, you suddenly appeared, and you shielded me. I knew then that a savior's hand could reach into even the deepest darkness. I still have not been able to repay that debt.
Have you not heard a word I've said? You have saved me in countless ways. 5 years ago, I did nothing but await my execution within my jail cell. Was it not you that saved me?
That was nothing more than my duty as your vassal.
Listen, Dedue, perhaps you consider me to be someone special. But I think the same of you. You are irreplaceable, cherished. So stop saying that we cannot be friends. Stop saying such awful things.
Please, do not look at me that way. You promised me you would build a kingdom that is proud to boast of Duscar blood. In this kingdom, where there is no distinction between the people of Duscar and the people of Fodlan, will I finally, without reservation, be able to call you my friend? Will I, Dimitri?
Dedue. Yes, you will call me your friend again and again, no matter how many hardships I must endure.
I will do all I can to bring about that world as well. To be your friend is what I have always wanted.
Is that so?
I am glad to hear it.
But until that time, we must allow no harm to befall you. So please call upon me when you walk alone at night. And even when you go out in the day, please tell me where you are going and whom you are meeting.
In the end, I suppose there is no fixing your overprotectiveness, is there? I suppose I can live with that.
Did they just become best friends? Yep. Then ends their support conversation.
I have a question for you. Answer quickly before my hand slips and I cut you in half.
Always so ominous. Well, what is it, Felix?
Sometimes you have an animal's face, contorted with anger and bloodlust. At other times, a man's with a friendly smile. Which is your true face?
Do not waste your breath on questions with such obvious answers. They are both the real me. My father, my friends, Glenn, they all meant a great deal to me. And they were all brutally slaughtered. I alone survived. If I do not shoulder the anguish and regret they must have felt, who will?
So that's how you justify your atrocities.
What do you mean?
I will fulfill my duty to the late king. My old man used to say that over and over like a mantra. How nauseating. No one seems to understand. The dead won't acknowledge your loyalty. They don't care. What a load of bunk it is, pretending to serve a corpse. You're serving your own ego.
You are wrong.
No, I'm not. The dead are dead. The living are living. You have to respect that boundary. If you keep stringing gravestones around your neck, you'll snap.
Even still, I cannot forget them, nor can I let them go.
Then keep those thoughts to yourself. If you're too weak to do that, abandon your throne. Become a gravekeeper.
Felix.
I'm not immune to emotion, you know. Far from it. I haven't gone a day without questioning why my father and brother had to die, while I survived. I'll bear this pain until the day I die, but I refuse to wallow in it. I have more important things to do than blubber for my whole life.
You know, Felix, you really are growing more and more like your brother. Always so sarcastic and constantly looking for a fight. But deep inside, more than anyone, you...
What are you getting at?
Oh, it's nothing. But allow me to thank you. Your perspective has opened my eyes.
Not my intention. I couldn't stand the pathetic look on your face, that's all.
I see. If you say so, then we will leave it at that.
Felix cares in his own way. Then ends their supports.
You've been spending a lot of time at the training ground, Mercedes. As far as swordsmanship goes, you're like a whole new person.
Thank you. I have such a great time when you teach me that improving comes naturally.
It's all because of your own hard work. Compared to you,
You shouldn't be so disappointed in yourself. You're improving too. You just need to keep at it.
Well, I can hold a needle and thread without breaking anything now. That's something.
That's a big step. When we started, you couldn't even hold a pair of scissors without twisting them apart.
True. I'm sorry for being such a burden.
You're no bother at all. I like sewing with you. It reminds me of when I was young and my mother taught me how to sew. My mother would sit with my brother and me, and we'd all sew together. I really miss it, even though I was barely better than you when I started. Did your mother like to sew, Dimitri?
My birth mother? From my father's accounts, she wasn't great at it either.
Oh, of course. I forgot that the Queen of Fargus passed away long ago.
Yes. I don't really remember what she was like. But I remember my stepmother, always sitting by the window sewing away.
I'm sure she would have been happy to teach you if you had asked.
She always looked so lonely when she was sewing. So unreachable. She was kind to me, yes, but when she was like that, it was hard to talk to her. I'm not certain she would have wished to teach me.
I'm so sorry, Dimitri. I didn't mean to bring up such difficult memories.
Don't worry about it. If I don't talk about those things sometimes, I'll risk forgetting them altogether. And that would truly be a shame.
I see.
But now I'm just going on and on about myself. Why don't you tell me more about you?
More about me? Oh, goodness. I don't even know what to say.
It's hard to think of something on the spot, isn't it? You could speak of your family, I suppose.
You want to know more about my family? On that topic, I'm happy to oblige. In fact, I'm so glad you asked. It's important to think about your past and share it every now and then. This might take a while, but would you be willing to stay and listen?
Of course. I will listen for as long as you wish.
Your Highness, I have a little favor to ask of you.
Of course. How may I be of assistance?
Well, I was hoping you could tell me about my father. I imagine he was a very different man at home than he was at work.
Ah, so you wish to hear about the Gustav that I knew. As you know, he was a knight who served the royal family since my grandfather's reign. To me, he was a teacher of martial arts and tactics. He was someone I depended on since I was a small child. But he was also a very stern and strict instructor.
That doesn't surprise me. He was much the same at home. He'd chide us if we made mistakes, whether it was with cooking or even how we spoke. I feel like we can talk like this because of our time at the academy. But if you saw me speaking so casually to you, oh my goodness, he would probably faint.
Is that so? Funny. I suppose in front of his family he felt the need to demonstrate proper etiquette.
Makes sense.
Wait, are you saying that's not how he was around you?
Even all these years later, there's something I recall with perfect clarity. It happened in the autumn of my 11th year. Before the break of dawn, he woke me suddenly, said he'd heard a disturbance and had me grab my bow. Then he sent me and a fellow pupil loose on a dark mountain. Our only directive was to go catch a deer. As you well know, autumn in the capital is very cold. Now, imagine being up on the mountain at night with no idea what might jump out from the shadows. That, in a nutshell, is the Gustav I knew.
I can hardly imagine that. He was completely different with me.
I recall one other defining detail. He used to speak of you at every possible opportunity.
Really? What would he say about me?
Are you sure you want to know? There's one story he used to tell from when you were very small.
No, stop! It's probably too embarrassing to bear. Is it?
Perhaps.
Look, I'll promise to forget the stories he told me about you if you return the favor. Deal?
Yes, that seems the only thing to do. It's a promise.
I didn't think she'd ask Dimitri about Gilbert, considering their relationship.
Your Highness, I've come to apologize. I mismanaged my feelings and got carried away. I've been thinking about what might have made you say the things you did. I was so caught up in the moment, and in my own feelings, that I didn't think of what yours might be.
No, I should be the one to apologize. I
did not intend to say such things. I lashed out like a child. You were right to rebuke me. I am disgusted by my own inability to express myself. Will you allow me to explain?
Of course.
At the tragedy of Duscur, I saw countless corpses. Of course, I saw his, too. Glenn's. Ingrid, I doubt you would have been able to see him. They were unable to bring his body back, after all. He must have died an agonizing death, full of pain and regret. That is what I saw in his face. In that wasteland, there were no beautiful, proud deaths that could have been written about in heroic tales. Not one. I do not want you to die a death like that. Not even for the sake of loyalty or duty.
A king must at times order his soldiers and knights to fight and die on his behalf. Their lives must be used for the greater good. And this is something any good king understands innately. Any king who doesn't allow people to die on his behalf is too soft to rule well.
You leave me little room for argument. Have I disappointed you?
No. I chose to serve you because of how you are. As your knight, I will stand by your side and uphold your soft-hearted ideals.
What has changed, Ingrid? You were so obstinate the other day.
I've realized that I haven't been facing a very important truth. Because of you, I can finally move on. Thank you.
What's your next conversation gonna be about? If that solved everything. Which it probably did, but you know.
Why are you out and about so late, Dimitri?
Hello, Flayn. I could ask you the same thing.
Me? I was feeling restless and came here to think.
I see. I'm here for the same reason.
How funny. But, are you feeling well? You look fairly pale.
It's nothing. I just have a bit of a headache.
Oh my. Headaches are quite troublesome, are they not? I am sure it will subside soon. Actually, I am quite talented when it comes to healing magic. If you will allow me, I will have you feeling better in no time.
That's kind of you, but I'm fine.
But why not? Have I offended you somehow?
This headache is something I've dealt with for a while now. Ever since my family and friends were murdered before my eyes. I must never forget that day. I must never allow their deaths to be forgotten. I feel this headache as a reminder of sorts. Of those I failed to protect. And of their murderers who still roam free.
I see. That would explain your somber demeanor. Still, I do not agree with all you are saying. I feel that if I were your father or any of your dear friends whom you lost, I would want you to let go of me eventually. I would never want someone whom I care deeply for to be pained by the loss of me for eternity. And I doubt they would want that either.
Perhaps. Unfortunately, they have left this world, so I can no longer ask their preference.
We cannot ask them directly, but we can imagine how they might have felt. You know who they were as people. As for me, if I am ever to be but a memory in your future, I want you to remember me in a way that brings you joy. I would want you to smile when you recalled me, to feel warmed by the notion that I cherished your company. I cannot imagine I am the only one who feels this way. Surely, anyone who loved another would wish only for their peace and happiness. I must apologize. I was out of line, clearly. I must get some rest now. Please do not stay up too late yourself.
Good night, Flayn. And thank you. Gustav. It has been 8 years since I last called you by that name.
Your Highness, I must deeply apologize for leaving the kingdom without permission.
There is no need to explain, old friend. I can guess at your reasons. The tragedy of Duscur. You felt responsible for that incident and sought respite in the goddess, abandoning your name, rank, and homeland in repentance. Am I right?
I have no excuses to offer. It was all I could think to do.
I always knew you for a pious man, and I figured that if you were to leave, this is where you would end up. You have changed much. Your face does not have the same resolve it once did.
If I may, Your Highness, you have changed as well.
I can't disagree.
It was my duty to protect His Majesty, your father. Naturally, that also included Lady Patricia and yourself as well.
My father and mother are gone. No amount of regret will bring them back.
My dreams are haunted by the thought that, had I arrived at Duscur more swiftly...
You saved my life at Duscur. I have only gratitude for you, no blame to speak of. I wish for you to remain in the kingdom, Gustav, even after this conflict is over. I need your strength to help rebuild the ravaged land that Fargus has become.
Please, I beg your forgiveness, but there is no place left for me in that land.
I see. Though much has changed, your stubbornness remains. I have no desire to trouble you. If you do not wish to return, that is your choice to make. But I do advise you to at least visit the place of your birth, if only for your family's sake.
Yes, Your Highness. Thank you. I appreciate your concern.
Your Highness, missing the day's training? How unlike you.
I had intended to train, but this rain is unrelenting.
Yes, it's really coming down out there. Makes it hard to go outside, I suppose. It's pouring so hard, I can't help but feel poorly.
Yes, quite.
Sorry, that one was pretty bad. I think this weather is putting a damper on my sense of humor.
At any rate, did you need me for something?
Ah, yes. You seem to have the time to spare, so would you help me organize our stock of weapons? You must know a thing or two about weapons, and I bet you're no slouch at physical labor.
Of course, I'd be happy to help. I was just hoping for a useful way to pass the time until the rain lets up.
I appreciate it. I don't know how I do it all on my own. You know, it's great that you're willing to help with this kind of thing. Some nobles are so self-important. You're a real go-getter, Your Highness. Or should I say, your spryness? Maybe that was disrespectful. If he's going to lop off my head, he'd better go ahead and do it. I can't bear the silence. Listen, Your Highness, that joke, I didn't mean to...
I just...
Huh?
oh my... I'm sorry, Alois.
Wait, you mean you actually found it funny?
Oh goodness, not at all.
I see.
But when a joke is unfunny to a certain degree, it somehow comes full circle into hilarity.
That's not exactly what I was going for. Still, I don't think I've ever seen you laugh so loudly.
It's true. Laughter is not one of my strong suits. I actually can't recall the last time I laughed like that. Alois, perhaps you should focus your efforts on honing this comedic talent of yours.
This talent? Is that your way of saying I'm no good at telling jokes?
My apologies. I should refrain from commenting on the quality of your jokes. What's important is that they bring joy, right?
That does it. Next time I make you laugh, I'm gonna make you admit it was a good quality joke. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to cook up some top-notch rib ticklers.
Alois, what about organizing the weapons? Oh, he's gone, isn't he?
That one was pretty good. I can't wait for more.
Hey there. At it again, are we? It feels like I see you training here every day.
It's my daily routine. I'm ill at ease until I've held a weapon in my grasp.
You said the same thing when you were little.
Right you are. I've been meaning to come and talk to you properly for a while now.
I was about to say the same thing. How long has it been? A decade? More? That was in Ferdiad, as I recall. You were just a little pipsqueak. You really have grown up, haven't you?
I remember those times well. Particularly your first words to me. Look at that young maiden wielding a giant lance. How adorable.
Oh, don't look at me like that. I was thrown off by your haircut, that's all.
It's all water under the bridge. Now, back then I was quite furious about it.
My father did give me a stern reprimand for speaking so rudely to a prince. But then, I never had a chance to apologize. I was always getting into trouble back then, just like the incident in Duscur.
Speaking of, do you ever think about going back to House Karen? Do you, Cassandra?
No, I'm happy with the life I have. No offense, Your Highness, but I don't fight for king and country anymore. I fight for Lady Rhea.
It doesn't bother you? Being labeled a criminal?
You're worried about my life as a fugitive from the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. Don't worry about me. I'm here because I want to be. It suits me far better than the life I'd otherwise lead, as a noble lady of the kingdom.
Is that so?
How about you? You've never wanted to roam free? To enjoy life as an ordinary knight, unshackled from all those princely obligations.
I can't say the thought has never crossed my mind. However, I am the son of a king. It's not possible for me to put my own desires before the good of the kingdom.
Nah, you're too serious for your own good. How'd you become such a stiff?
Don't worry, I've been working on that. Stretching is a part of my daily routine.
If you can joke about it, there's hope for you yet.
He must have learned that from Alois. It's quite interesting to learn that Catherine, or Cassandra, is a fugitive. That's why she changed her name. Kind of similar to why Gilbert changed his name from Gustave.
Almost forgot how spooky this place is. I don't know if I can do this alone. No, I've got to. What use am I to anyone if I can't even handle an empty tower? Here goes.
The doll from my father must be in there, but I'm too scared to go looking for it.
Annette!
Ash, what are you doing here?
Oh, here, I got this for you.
My doll! You went back for it? But why?
Your father gave it to you. I know you said you'd throw it away, but you can't just toss out something so important.
Ash, thank you. I'm so happy. To be honest, I didn't have the courage to go back in there to get it myself. But thanks to you, I didn't have to. And you're afraid of ghosts, right? Were you okay in there all by yourself?
Well, not really. I tried my best not to think about it. My legs shook whenever I did.
Oh, poor Ash. You're safe now, I promise.
Knock it off, would you? I'm okay now. But I'm glad I could help you and see a smile on your face. Look at me, though. A grown man, scared of ghosts. Pathetic, right?
No, I don't think that at all. I think you're something special, Ash. You were really brave, and all for me. That wasn't an easy thing to do. I'm in awe of you.
Thanks. Maybe there is still hope for me as a knight.
Yes, I'll gladly attest to that. I'm sure you'll be a splendid knight. Maybe you'll even outdo my father.
Well, that's a frightening thought, comparing me to someone like Gilbert. But it's a happy one, too. It makes me want to work that much harder.
What a warm family moment. It's not really a family, but whatever. That ends their support conversations.
There you are, Ingrid.
Whoa, hi Ash. You seem excited. What's that you're holding?
A book I found in town. I bought it for you.
For me? Ash, this looks very costly. Antique books like this are never cheap. Wow, the cover is stunning, and the binding is still in fantastic condition.
I drove a hard bargain. Still, I'll probably have to cut back on my spending for a while.
Why did you go to so much trouble?
It wasn't easy, but as soon as I came across this legend, I knew you had to read it too.
Well then, I will read it. Oh, the knight on the cover looks striking.
Fascinating, right? I was captivated from the moment I laid eyes on the cover.
There's an aura of stoicism intermingled with beauty, even amid a gruesome battle. Wait, looking closer at the face, this knight is a woman.
Yes, and she was a real historical figure. She was born into a noble family and bore a crest, but she was accepted into the king's service as a knight. She fought in many battles at her king's side, serving him all her life as his right hand. Oh, sorry, I've said too much. I didn't mean to spoil the story for you. I'm just so excited. I hope you enjoy it too.
Thank you for the encouragement, Ash. Living as a knight is certainly not an easy task. I know it will mean much pain, strife, and heartache. But I still want to pursue that dream. Talking to you has reminded me. I'm not the type who gives up easily.
That's the Ingrid I know.
So to start, I'm going to read this book.
Great! When you're finished and freshly inspired, we'll talk about becoming knights. Not the ones in stories either. The real thing.
I look forward to it, Ash.
I think that ends their support conversations. Yeah, it does.
Ah, Dorothea. What are you doing here?
I was actually waiting to see you.
Were you going to invite me out to dinner? I accept.
Yes, I was. I don't think it would be so bad to share a meal with you from time to time.
How about tonight? I'm busy tomorrow.
That's fine by me. What are you busy with, I wonder? Girls? And more girls?
Isn't it an unwritten rule not to ask about such things? But what a curious turn of events. Have you perhaps got an ulterior motive?
No ulterior motives. If you're worried, we can just pretend this conversation never happened.
No, wait! That's not what I meant. I just don't understand why you want my company now, when you've always been so cold to me. Have you perhaps fallen in love with me?
My stomach just got queasy. You know what? Maybe I'll eat on my own after all.
Fine, fine, I get it. You want someone to chase your loneliness away.
Something like that, yes. If you don't want to, I'll ask someone else.
Don't dream of it. It would be my pleasure, milady. And to be clear, the reason you chose to spend time with me is my family, yes? Or is it my crest? Both. I'm just curious about such things. Say I was a commoner. Would you still have invited me to dinner?
Is this really necessary for a simple dinner invitation? Actually, I have a question of my own. Say I was a hoarse-voiced old hag. Would you still be flirting with me? Would you still want to hold my hand and whisper sweet nothings?
That's a difficult question. I have nothing against mature women, but...
Even if you were an old man, I still would have invited you out. If you were a former noble exiled from his family, or an orphan from the streets, my heart cares not. Just kidding. I just wanted to try saying it. Of course it's better that you have money.
You little... Yeah, that's probably true. So, Dorothea, about that dinner?
It would be an honor to have you join me tonight. And let's not talk about things like this over dinner, okay?
Even if I was an old man or an orphan, huh?
I want to see the rest of this.
Hilda, lovely as ever. I swear, when you're around, the sun shines brighter and everything sparkles.
Sylvain, you're looking superb as always.
Thank you. Are you going out today? If you do, then be careful. I'd hate to think you might hurt your foot again.
My foot? Oh, yes! You mean that time you helped me with the books? No need to worry, the foot's fine now. Even better than it was before.
I noticed, since I'm always looking at cute girls, and you are one of the cuter ones, your foot was better during the battle. You were running all over, just a regular warrior princess, and less than a day after such a terrible injury.
My friends were depending on me, so I just had to fight through the pain.
You mean fight through the BS?
Hilda, please don't lie to me. I knew your foot wasn't really hurt, but I returned your books anyway. Take it from a guy who does his fair share of pretending to be someone he's not. And I say this as a friend, you are a terrible liar. And those books you left in your room for so long, teachers and classmates needed those. So stop lying, and maybe stop being quite as selfish too.
You saw right through me. Honestly, I'd completely forgotten that I still had those books. I really was going to return them. Did the librarian say anything to you?
Oh yeah, I got an earful of yelling and accusations meant for you.
Huh? Didn't you just say it was my fault?
Nah, I figured the librarian would feel better if they just let loose. No reason to make them wait for you.
I'm so sorry. You got a tongue lashing that should have been directed at me.
Tell you what, all will be forgiven if you promise 3 things. Stop lying, take responsibility, and fall madly in love with me.
Aw, Sylvain, I do love you, you know? I just wouldn't want you for a husband.
What? Why not?
Well, not to offend you, but I can't help but feel that your niceness is somehow shallow. My brother would probably cut you into pieces the moment he saw your face.
Your brother sounds, terrifying, actually.
We're losing the thread a bit here. Evidently, you can see through my act, so I'll just be straightforward about taking advantage of you.
Well, I'll take what I can get. Just don't go causing trouble for guys who aren't me.
It's a deal. Goodbye for now, Sylvain.
So that one was pretty interesting. So, that was the 20 that I was going to show you for this part. Next time, we'll go to the next 19, and then that'll be it for the support conversations for chapter 18. So, until next time, I'll be seeing ya.